So the Houdini is known for escape. Okay, Houdini is known to be an FX package. So the reason that companies pay for that, for example, we just recently bought a license of Houdini for $6,000. So the reason the companies pay for that is just to do the effects. But it seems that the company is trying to bring in many people from with other needs in the industry as well. So let me just give you a bit of history. There were a software called Softimage XSI, and this software was getting used in many companies and for games. So games like what was that game for, if you remember?
Oh, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. So it's been used in different games and in different companies like the Mill. Still, the people are using. It's the most well-known TV commercial house based in London. They are as huge as a visual effects company because they do lots and lots of commercials for large companies. They're still using XSI for most of their job because it was a fantastic piece of software for character animation. So building up your character and rigging it and animating it and sharing with like a huge team, it was so much fun. So animations so that's why TV series is like Jelly Jam, or so it's been done inside Softimage XSI as well, or Pocoyo, you know that.
I'll have it. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I love it too as well.
Oh my gosh,
I spent hours watching it like a 3-year-old baby. Yeah, I love it. So, yeah, so making so a TV series, so producing one episode is fine, but if you're supposed to produce like one episode per week, it means a lot of work, and there should be a really good organized structure over there. So there were a guy who developed a very fantastic auto rig. Let me find his Jeremy Passerin. So he's a very lovely French guy, and he developed this auto rig for Softimage XSI, and still, so he developed it like at least 5 or 6 years ago, and I believe it is still the best auto rig system for lazy people like me. So we used to use it for many projects. So it was like setting up a very cool rig with lots of difficult bending and shape deformation. So for in Jelly Jam, so you see that the curvature on joints is not like very rigid. It's very soft with like, it's noodly. This is called noodly joints. And there's a lot of like stretchiness and hard motions, and it's super difficult if you want to make it manually. You have to spend hours, you have to be a really good rigging artist, or you can use this auto rig system. So unfortunately, like a few years ago, on 2015, two years ago, Softimage XSI has been bought by Autodesk. They use the technologies in a few things, but most of the software they dumped it, they just threw that away. And even if many companies like Mill, and they asked for a source code to keep working on that, they just refused it. So few people from the same team moved to side effects, and last month, or it was last 2 months, that version 16 has been released. I saw that the same kind of structure is been added in Houdini. So I'm going to start rigging a character. So it might be still, so let me explain you, still the dominant pipeline for character animations inside Houdini is like doing your rigging and character animation in Maya, export it as Alembic cache, and open it inside Houdini, apply your visual effects. So if you want like someone dances and then suddenly starts to turn into a stone and starts to crack and break apart, you have to, well, the normal procedure is doing it inside Maya, rigging it, modeling it in ZBrush or whatever you use, rigging it inside Maya, animating, and send the rigged character and animated character using Alembic cache into the Houdini and apply effects and export it out. But it seems that we're getting close to that point that we start rigging here inside Houdini and animating here. So let's have a look at how quick and how lovely is this rigging structure inside Houdini. I'm going to start making a geometry. You know that the Houdini is a node-based procedural platform. It means that you start with some nodes and you build up the tree of nodes to deliver your concept. It's too hot here. Can you check that out, or I feel too hot? So thank you so much. I press tab inside this object viewer. So this is where we put our nodes, and this is where we look at the nodes. I will explain what I'm doing step by step. I press tab and geometry. This is a geometry, and enter and click. So this is a dummy object. It's like nothing. So I just call it character, and I dive into it and delete that temp geometry. You can type file, click here, and point to a location on your hard drive and bring a character that has been modeled in ZBrush or Maya and has been exported as FBX or Alembic. So these are the formats that you work inside Maya. But in case to speed it up, I don't have any character ready, so I used some test objects from Houdini itself. So I press tab again and type test and use this Tommy. So this character has been added. So you see that it's a dense character. If you have rigged any character, you will realize that these parts will be a nightmare to rig or here, because so the skeleton in a rigging structure works like with the area. So it says I add a skeleton here, and this skeleton is supposed to affect an area around it. It's the classical deformation. So the skeleton here will affect not only the arm but also whatever is behind that. So, but new algorithm is trying to distinguish between different geometries. So I go up and I click on here, new tab, and I load the auto rig tab, and new auto rig assets. This is where we start creating our auto rig. It's a very complex structure, but it packages it inside a very quick and nice asset. So let's call it character or Tommy. What was the name of character? Tommy. Tommy rig. Asset type, it's a rig character. And rig geometry source, it's important as well. I'm gonna use so I go to operator and grab this character as my accept. So you see that it says go grab this character and use it as your rig geometry source. You can start with a blank rig, and this is what you ask. If I can create, if it's a dragon, or it's like a octopus, so it's different sort of rigs. So you can start like I need 5 legs, I need 4 hands. So, but I start with a biped. Biped is nothing, just a simple rig with 2 hands, 2 legs, 1 body, and 1 head. So nothing. So the same thing can be applied on any other stuff. So auto rig icon, it's a miscellaneous digital asset, or it's a auto rig asset. Just name it as you want. Oop, invalid custom icon. So yeah, I have to send it into miscellaneous digital assets. Create it. So it gives you a what should I call it? Just a dummy skeleton. Just a standing skeleton. It's not the actual skeleton. It's just a reference that you move, and based on the position, so you're helping the structure to figure out. So I select this skeleton and press T, standing for transformation. I position them around. So, and okay, knee is here, maybe slightly top. So I'm gonna do it quickly in case you're so tired and you're gonna sleep quickly. So you see that we can look at, so this is the pivot point, not pivot point, it's pole vector for the knee. So I move the knee in a way that it just aligns with the knee. So this is a foot that acts like a boot. So if you need toes, just go for the toes. If you need the leg to be like stretchy, so it stretches more than actual size, actual length of the leg, just make it stretchy. If you want it to be noodly, so like a octopus leg, just go and click on noodle as well. I just put both of them. Let's see how it works. Let's reposition hands as well. So this is shoulder. Okay. This is elbow and hand. Elbow is aligned nice and neat, but I think I have to move shoulder back. Let's do it as quick as possible. Okay, I'm not gonna do the fingers properly, I just do something really quick. So you will see some problems in the fingers later on, but that's fine. As long as you know how to do it nice, it should be fine. Okay, fingers. You see that the fingers are getting placed. Okay, I think I am ready. There's a couple of things to follow for rigging. That's called spine guide. That's called neck. So it's gonna be here around. This is head rotation, and this is, yeah, that's better. Okay. So yeah, that's it. As easy as that. I just go and say, so let's, before that, don't forget to turn hand to the stretchy and noodly. Your spine can have more bones. For example, if this is a long character spine, you will add more bones. And head, you can define like 3-4 heads. So yeah, just adjust all the settings before pressing on this rig, because you cannot go back. So it asks you, are you sure you want to generate rig for Tommy rig? You will not be able to modify the rig after generation. iPad embedded biharmonic. Oh, there it is. That's my bad, because I didn't say enable capture deform. That's good, because I made that mistake a couple of times. And I just did it. Yeah. So why we have two objects? Because the first, it keeps the objects untouched in case you might want to adjust it. So you see that the rigging works kind of fine, and that's flipping is because of just it works at some stages. Not bad. And the leg, so this is a really hard part to calculate, as I explained you. Let's see. So you see that it did most of the job, but just like a tiny things that you can paint it out later on. So a deformation like that one, it needs to be, yeah, it's because they were so close together.
Controlling each other with each.
So they were at the beginning, at the moment of scanning, they were so close together. So the skeleton here affects the other parts as well. So we have to skin it out. So it's a fairly easy process to handle, but I'm going to talk about that later. But then the noodly is, you can have like a more deformed leg, which is, yeah, it look very ugly for this character. But if you have a kind of noodly legs and hands, it should look fine. Let me show you something here. Okay, how we can, oh, the K drive is not connected anymore. Yeah, okay, don't worry. So yeah, so we see that the scanning is working properly now, and hands are stretchy as we wanted. Like you can stretch them out, but at some point they start to break. So it's all good. So super fast and quick. Don't forget to, when you want to create your auto rig, don't forget to click that one, enable capture. If you want to skinning happens at the same time. Yeah, that's it. You will have a nice and tidy rig that works for you, and you can handle like a lot of simple animations with that. So it needs a bit of skinning at some point, but that's fine. And it has a nice controller for every part of that, so you can go there, switch between IK, FK. So let's say I'm gonna switch for the left hand. Left arm, actually, where it is, I'm gonna switch between IK and FK. So you can switch between IK and FK and have that FK running, and then you can animate that one the time that you want. The stretchiness can be controlled, like so. All the options that you got in a automated rig in Maya, you got it here as well.
Automatically now.
Yeah.
Because not all of it's done.
Yeah, it's not super perfect, like so there's a lot to be done, but we got these type of tools that we wish to have in Maya, like match FX to FK to IK. So we have it already built in this auto rig. So it's a very nice piece of things to play around with. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you something. If I would